Number 15, Missouri is going to make the trip up to Nashville, Tennessee, the site of the Josh Pate College Football Show, and take on number 11, Vanderbilt, in First Bank Stadium in Nashville, Tennessee. A 3:30 kickoff that we will end up seeing going down over on ESPN. Now, with that being said, Missouri does come into this game. A lot of talk about their defense, like in the preseason, but the offense has been putting together some really good work as well. A relatively well-balanced team for the Missouri Tigers, as their offense has taken a nice step forward, averaging 39 points per game, which is good for 12th in the nation as a top 15 offensive output. Whereas defensively, defensively, they're actually slightly worse. They're number 16 in the country, but still top 20 for both offense and defense. That's, it's going to put you in a position to where, hey, maybe you are going to be a national contender after all. But at the same time, though, I do have worries, at least for the Missouri team, about its ability to scale up moving forward, just because of what we saw in the last couple of weeks. And it's not just it's not even necessarily just the Alabama loss that we saw unfold right before our eyes. It's also the Auburn game. Where Auburn is one of those teams where I think it really does apply that they are better than what their record says they are. At the same time, though, to go into double overtime against Auburn, it becomes a much more emotionally challenged game than what you expect. Could make it a little bit more of an issue, because now you go on the road once again. You had a somewhat emotionally draining win against Auburn because it was a double overtime affair, and then you also played against Alabama at home, which brings its own emotion and physicality to it. And can Missouri get up for a third consecutive game? Are they capable of doing just that? We're just going to have to wait and see. But I do love the backfield duo that is here at Missouri between Bo Pribola. I think he's done some really nice work, like finally getting an opportunity to be a starting quarterback, getting away from Penn State, and after sitting behind Drew Allar for multiple years. And on top of that, Ahmad Hardy, the transfer out of ULM, has turned into one of the most dynamic running backs in the country, someone that should be getting a little bit more Heisman attention, although the game against Auburn, different story, because he was bottled up in the Auburn game. But this is a team that plays some really good optimistic defensive, and the offense has shown some explosives. But again, can they scale up in these big games? We haven't necessarily seen that from Missouri so far, given the Alabama result. That Alabama game just so happens to also be at home. They weren't fully able to scale upward. Now, on the opposite side of that, Vanderbilt, ironically enough, Vanderbilt seems like the more tested team right now. Yes, they did lose to Alabama as well, and that's what these two teams have in common. But, Vanderbilt, if it wasn't for the red zone turnovers in that game, we could be talking about an undefeated Vanderbilt right now. But that's just not how the cookie crumbled. What we can, however, say is that this team was a favorite against LSU, which is the first time that we've seen that for an AP-ranked opponent since the 1970s, I think. And Vanderbilt lived up to those expectations. They're able to get to a 31-24 signature win as well. That helps Vanderbilt get a lot of more respect nationally. And how about Vanderbilt as well getting that national recognition in terms of being bowl eligible, achieving bowl eligibility before the end of November? Imagine saying that about Vanderbilt even a couple of years ago. You would think that I was on drugs, but in fact, I'm not on drugs right now. Outside of like the LSU game, I mean, this is a team that knows how to dominate folks, man. They're averaging a 21 point margin of victory over the course of the whole year. Diego Pavia, he has been such a great add from transfer portal a couple of years. He is the heart and soul of that team. Maybe not a guy that isn't the most mobile or doesn't have the most insane arm talent by any means, but at the same time, what Diego Pavia does provide, he provides three things. He provides really good decision making. He hardly is going to make really egregious decisions. He has leadership that's evident in how like the floor and ceiling of this team has risen. Again, another one of those teams that plays better than the sum of its parts. It's a well coached team, and that's a testament to Clark Leah as well. And just the grit and competitiveness. He's never going to give up. He is that he is a certified bad man, which means Missouri, they're going to have to figure out how to, again, maybe you can't fully stop Diego Pavia, but can you contain him? Can you contain him just enough so that the rest of the team cannot be energized by Diego Pavia and his ability to make plays as well? Something to definitely watch out for moving forward. So, how does Missouri handle Diego Pavia? How does Missouri, can they scale up on both sides of the ball? Haven't fully been able to do that. Vanderbilt a little bit more tested. And then Vanderbilt, how do they handle the expectations? I mean, at this point of the year, I think there's never been a moment in my lifetime, and I'm almost 30 years old, where, the expectations have never been higher for Vanderbilt. How do they as a team handle that and really block out that outside noise about how everyone is praising them at this moment? So, those are things to certainly monitor. Other things to definitely keep an eye on is in terms of, can they, who's going to be able to dictate the tempo more between the Missouri offense and the Vanderbilt defense? If Vanderbilt defensively can prevent some big splash plays, particularly in the running game, because Missouri is particularly effective at running the football, that could really help Vanderbilt settle into this game once again, even coming off of an emotionally challenging game against LSU at home that had a lot of eyes on it. And Missouri on the opposite end, can they get their offense going early and get that ground game going in particular? That is an easy way to really essentially shut up this home crowd, because that home field advantage, while maybe it's not the tops in the SEC, it's a more intimidating environment than, again, what it was just a couple of years ago. Obviously, the turnover in situational football as well is going to be important, especially when you have a really close game like this. Just for the fact that because we think it's going to be a really close game, I think the turnover differential could play a really big impact, as well as special teams. Could special teams decide this? I think that's absolutely possible as well. So, again, for the second time this afternoon, we're going to go ahead and pull up the model once again. And the model here right now is showing a nice edge for Vanderbilt. Again, FanDuel and in our internal model are actually on a pretty similar spot at this moment. We do see Vanderbilt slightly more favored on our internal metrics than FanDuel right now. What FanDuel is saying is that on a neutral site, Missouri is a slightly better team. But I'm going to say that these two teams would be evenly matched on a neutral site field. But I am giving that home field edge to Vanderbilt. And that's that standard, 3.5 points is really that standard home field advantage, at least for me. So, again, it's extremely clear that both of these teams are very evenly matched. But, again, with Vanderbilt being a little bit more battle-tested, I'm going to trust Clark Leah a little bit more in this spot right about now. So, what I'm going to go ahead and do, again, is I am going to say Vanderbilt wins, and I'm very slight lean towards Vanderbilt covering as well. A 28-24 type result, which I know is exactly what I had for Ole Miss and Oklahoma. It just feels like that same type of game, like a very competitive, four-quarter type of game. That's what I do expect for the Missouri-Vanderbilt matchup as well.